As a general rule, I always take my Disney outfits pretty seriously, but for my first trip to Galaxy's Edge, I really wanted to go above and beyond without spending a fortune. So I went thrifting for Disney bounds, Batuu style. Pretty much everyone who knows us immediately assumed, as soon as they heard about it, that, hey, you're going to be going down there for like opening day of Galaxy's Edge, aren't you? And we're like, yeah, no, not so much. We really wanted to give it time to sort of calm down, get into its stride, so we could go in and really enjoy it for all of its different aspects without having to worry about any of the kinks that are still getting, you know, worked out of everything. So we wanted to give it just a little bit of a time, but we also wanted to get down there when it was still reasonably new. So we are currently planning our first trip to the Black Spire Outpost at Galaxy's Edge. And as soon as I start planning any Disney trip, my first thought always jumps to, what am I going to wear? So I knew I wanted to do very, you know, in-character Star Wars outfits. I want to do both some light side looks and some dark side looks. And I knew that that could get crazy expensive, so I decided to try and do it very budget and go thrifting. So knowing that I wanted to do both light side and dark side looks, I just went with sort of a general feel and aesthetic in mind. So basically I was thinking that sort of mix that is so Star Wars of super modern sci-fi with like old western with some military aspects thrown in, and I just sort of had all that percolating in the back of my mind, looking for some, you know, neutrals and earth tones for the light side with some occasional pops of color, but then a lot of black with some gray and red maybe for the dark side. Part of what made the Star Wars movies so immersive was that everything was a little worn and distressed and aged. It wasn't all super brand new and perfect looking, so I thought that thrifting was actually a really good way to go. It would have that worn, broken in effect, because it is, but it would still very much jive with the whole Star Wars idea and aesthetic that way. I feel like a lot of the really cool Star Wars costume designs have a definite layering effect going, but I'm going to be in Florida and I'm hoping to wear these outfits over various seasons, so I want to keep with that layering look, but I'm looking for some very light layers so I won't be absolutely roasting as the weather continues to get warmer in Florida. So my first stop was a nearby Goodwill that I've never been to before but looked pretty promising. First I picked up these brown cropped pants that actually still had the original tags on them, so bonus. And I really liked how they had all the pockets and the zipper details. They had that sort of cargo, practical aspect that really made sense for a rebel or a scavenger. I really thought they had the right vibe happening for them, and they were in that brown earth tone, so they would be a nice neutral to work with various different outfits. I definitely was trying to avoid anything in the denim or khaki range. I didn't want it to feel too modern earth, so I wanted to avoid those particular fabrics, especially for bottoms. Next I found this DKNY shirt, which obviously has seen a little bit more wear because one side of the tag is coming off, but it still was in very good condition. It doesn't have any holes or stains anywhere on it, and it has this sort of mock wrap effect, which had a definite gray vibe to it between the color and the wrap effect, so I definitely thought this was a really good find. Definitely has the right look to it. One important thing is to definitely check both men's and women's section. In the men's section, I felt that I was more likely to find various types of vests, and this did hold true. I definitely found more vests in the men's section, but I did end up finding several very good options in the women's, which were more fitted to my size anyway, so bonus, but definitely don't be afraid to check all sections of the stores. For instance, in the men's section, I found this olive green D-ring belt, and it was perfect. It's got the olive green, so it's kind of got a military feel to it, very Star Wars. But since it was in the men's section and is super duper long, I figured that'd be very convenient. I could wrap it around myself in various different ways, you know, like angled across my torso instead of just, you know, around my waist or something. So it definitely seems like it's a very multi-purpose piece that I can be able to use in different ways and different outfits. Since some Star Wars costumes definitely have sort of a strappy feel to them, it definitely had the right vibe happening for me, and at $2.99, it was a steal. I also found my first dark side piece with a black faux leather belt that immediately when I saw it, I thought it reminded me of Kylo Ren. It's a wide black leather looking belt that will fit me mostly pretty well up at my waist. I can loosen it and wear it down lower if I need to as well. So again, this will adapt to different outfits as I need. And it was also very cheap, and I really liked the silver hardware details. So I thought this was a really good find, and I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to be able to work it in yet, but it definitely seemed like something that would take a regular, normal garment and add a little bit of a Star Wars twist to it. So in total at this first store, I managed to get a pair of pants, a top, and 2 belts for less than $16. Totally a bargain. Very excited with my finds at the first stop. But I also found some really great finds at the second thrift store that we dropped into that day. First, I found this brown faux leather vest, and I was super excited to find this. It definitely has that rebel look to it. It's definitely a little beat up looking. It is a faux leather, but it's a very realistic one, I feel. It's not one of those ones that just screams fake, and it has that distressed, aged look to it, so I thought it was a really, really good find. It was marked $7.99, but it was one of the discounted colors that day, so definitely a good find. Next, I found this sort of goldish beige knitted vest with some gold grommet details that's from Cachet. It's definitely got a very different vibe to it than the brown leather vest, but something about it had sort of a Star Wars-y feel to me, just a sort of more dressy, regular, everyday Joe sort of Star Wars character, as opposed to somebody who's going to be out like shooting blasters and fighting off the First Order. So it's got the right feel to it for a completely different sort of character, so I definitely snatched that up. It's also nice because even though it's a knit, it's a pretty lightweight and it will breathe pretty well in the Florida heat. I also found this really great olive and faux brown leather bag. It's a crossbody, and I was really excited when I saw it. It's got that definite sort of military vibe that is going to be perfect for a Star Wars rebel sort of outfit, and it's also got the practicality behind it because none of my normal park bags really go with these sort of Star Wars outfits, so I am definitely going to need somewhere to stash, you know, a water bottle and my phone and whatnot, and this bag is perfect. It will definitely hold one of my water bottles and a magic band and a little wallet, and it's even got a small pouch that is perfect to hold my cell phone, so a great find. Not quite as practical, but still had a good Star Wars-y vibe to it, was this second brown faux leather bag. The strap isn't quite as long as I would like it to be. It's not quite long enough to easily wear it crossbody, but I liked this sort of geometric pleated leather look to it. It seemed like a very Star Wars-y detail, something that a character design would have, and it is big enough to hold a few essentials in the park, so it was only a couple dollars and we went ahead and grabbed it. I ended up spending about $26 at this second thrift store, but on top of all these Star Wars outfits that I had picked up, I picked up a few regular things for myself as well, so still made out pretty well. Moving on to the third stop, I was having way better luck than I had anticipated. I was afraid that I was going to have to take several different days and go to a bunch of different thrift stores to try and find enough pieces to make 1 or 2 viable outfits. But already at the 2 stops that we had gone to, I found a lot of really great pieces that worked together and that I knew would work with other existing pieces in my wardrobe, so I was feeling pretty lucky as we went into the third store. The only negative thing was that so far I had only found that one belt for any dark side outfits, so I was really hoping to find a little bit more in that aspect, and I did. But first I found these Porg Star Wars officially licensed pajamas. They are a little too small for me, so I can't actually wear them, but there was a long sleeve top and a pair of pants, so that's a lot of fabric for just a few dollars, and the print was reasonably scaled that I went ahead and grabbed them. I think I'm gonna make myself, and maybe for my Etsy store, some cute little Porg Mickey ears, because why not? I don't really plan on wearing any Mickey ears with my Galaxy's Edge outfits, but I will probably be wearing just some regular Star Wars outfits at some point in the near future on a various Disney trips, so I'm not too worried about it, and there's plenty to make, so I probably will have some ears on my Etsy store eventually with these. But for actual Galaxy's Edge outfits, my first find was this black little t-shirt that has some geometric cutout shapes and some mesh and zipper detailing that I thought had that right sort of hard-edged, sort of futuristic-y feel that was perfect for a dark side Star Wars look. And then next was this black cropped shirt with a slashed back. I'm not 100% sure that it really screams Star Wars, but I think I might be able to style it that way eventually with the right other pieces, but if not, it's just the kind of layering piece that I wear normally anyway, and it was very cheap, so I went ahead and grabbed it. But the big find at this store was definitely the black dress. It's technically a maternity dress, but that just basically means that there's more fullness in the skirt, and that meant there were these really cool pleated details on the front, and with a sort of faux wrap little neckline, I thought it was definitely leading into that layered, detailed, geometric look that is so good for Star Wars, particularly a dark side outfit. And it was black, and I was looking for dark side, so I definitely snatched that up really quick. So the thrift store didn't give me a lot of really great promising pieces, but it did give me that one dress in particular that I knew was going to be perfect. And I walked out of there with all of that for less than $20, so I was definitely feeling like it was a win. If you found this helpful and inspiring, I hope you will like down below, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications because I upload a new video every Monday and Thursday, and I have some great DIYs planned for some of these pieces. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.